The Matadors love its newest Texas Tech store, offering the official Wreck-'em Tech shirt of the Saddle Tramps. Together, the Matador and the Saddle Tramps are ready to gear you up for Texas Tech football. Buy your Wreck-'em Tech shirt at the Matador for only $15 and feel proud that you are supporting the Saddle Tramps and Texas Tech. Start a new tradition. Stop at the corner and shop the Matador, or shop online at shopthematador.com.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Matador Express. I'm your host, Everett.
And I'm Gaytan.
Each Texas Tech athletics team that's in play was beaten this week, and all those losses came at the hands of the Red Raiders' in-state rival, the Texas Longhorns. First loss to the Longhorns came this past Saturday to the Texas Tech football team. Red Raider quarterback Davis Webb was actually out in that game with a foot injury. He was on the sideline in crutches. So Patrick Mahomes, who's a true freshman, he started that game, but he was only in for about a quarter and maybe 2 or 3 minutes in the second quarter before taking a pretty vicious hit, kind of underneath his chin, knocked him to the ground and gave him a concussion, so he was out the rest of the game. The Red Raiders are forced to use walk-on freshman Vincent Testaverde Jr. The whole rest of the game. Testaverde, you may recognize that name, maybe if you're a Cowboys fan or something like that. Testaverde's the son of former Heisman winner Vinny Testaverde, who played for several different teams in the NFL, including the Dallas Cowboys. The one younger one that's the quarterback at Tech now, he threw for 116 yards in the game. What did you think of his performance in that game?
Well, I mean, it was nothing outstanding then. It's nothing bad. I mean, you had to put him in, crunch situation. We had no other options. I mean, you take out 2 top quarterbacks, but he did an all right job, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, like you said, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. He's a walk-on freshman. He drove down and scored in his first drive of the game. Mainly the rest of the game, once he got in, Cliff Kingsbury talked about, you got to change the game plan, obviously. It's not a guy that's taken a lot of first or second team reps in practice, so they used a lot of the short passes, a lot of bubble screens, and they didn't rely as heavily, though, on DeAndre Washington as I thought they would have. Washington only carried the ball like 16 or 17 times in the game, where he carried it over 20 in the last 2 games. So, I think that was something they could have done more that maybe would have helped the offense establish some rhythm and maybe given Testaverde some more confidence. That's something I would like to see, is a larger use of the run game. The Red Raiders ended up losing that game 34-13, and it was their 6th straight loss to the Longhorns, dating all the way back to that Michael Crabtree game in 2008. Wednesday featured two Longhorn losses in both soccer and volleyball for the Texas Tech teams.
Well, the Longhorn volleyball team is ranked number 5 in the nation, and handed Tech a quick 3-set loss Wednesday in the United Supermarkets Arena. And Tech had a hitting percentage of 0 in the match, which was the 5th lowest in school history. And the Raiders are at home again this Sunday with a game against conference opponent Kansas.
Yeah, the Tech soccer team is currently they're just in limbo right now, awaiting the game after a loss Wednesday, also to the Longhorns in the Big 12 Conference Tournament. Tech and UT, they were tied up at the end of regulation, and then they went through the first and second overtime. Still nobody was able to score, so they went into penalty kicks where the Longhorns ended up winning that game 6-5.
And the Red Raiders will find out whether or not they made the NCAA postseason Monday at 3:30 p.m.
Yeah. That's going to wrap up this week's episode of Matador Express. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.